All right, what is up? Welcome to the Spoiler Kings. My name is Tank Kramer with Brian the Grizzly, Brandman, Brandon, and we're going to talk about the new Snow White film that just came out. Rachel Zeglar and Gal Gadot, main two. Remake from the 1937 animated film from Disney. One of the first animated films ever. I believe the first animated film ever, feature film. So, yeah, it is a movie that finally deserves a remake. But it's in the mix of all these other live action remakes, so it just kind of gets lost in all of the messiness of these live action remakes.
Mhm.
But yeah, we're gonna get into our ratings at the end, our likes, our dislikes, and everything, some other stuff. So if you're in the live chat, leave a comment, let us know what you guys think about Snow White, and we'll get to that at the end of the review. But before we jump into all that, Brian, you got a rundown of what Snow White is about?
You want me to review Snow White?
Or synopsis?
The synopsis of it just says Snow White. You know it. It literally says that. This is Snow White. You know it. It's been 90 years, guys. You know what Snow White is. With the seven dwarfs and having a parent's mother dies. The evil witch comes in and marries her father. Father goes off, is lost, traveling. She's stuck with her evil stepmother, and she has an adventure that kind of goes through everything. But we all know the story of Snow White, so
yeah. But this one changes it. I'm sure we'll discuss a little bit of that.
Well, it start just from the beginning. It started. It changed it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
From the name.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, they went to the folklore than the Disney lore for that, which makes sense, especially when you have Rachel Zegler. But cool. Yeah. We'll jump into our likes. Brandman, what are some things you liked about this movie?
I thought Rachel Zegler was the MVP of the movie. I thought she did a great job from an acting and singing standpoint. Look, I have no dog in the fight when it comes to Snow White. I can't get angry at whatever it was she said a few years back or a couple months ago, however long it was. So I'm not invested enough to be bothered or about whatever it was that she happened to say that has triggered so many people. I thought the music was pretty solid. Even the way that it was filmed and like the color palette really was really good because it made it feel more whimsical and fairy tale-esque, which I thought was appropriate. And I wasn't bothered by a little, like most of the CG. And yeah, I thought it was fine. I'm not out to venomously get this movie as everyone else seems to. I thought it was fine. It was passable. And yeah.
Okay. What are you, Brian? What's some likes?
It was fine. No, Rachel Zegler did a good job acting. I think the changes they made to the story were pretty good. They try to be inclusive in the way the people that are there, different type of people, races, and make sure everyone was all there.
Yeah.
The music at the beginning I thought was really good. The benevolence of the king from the beginning was good. I mean, trying to show those things. The mirror part was, I have some issues with that, so I can't talk about that. I think they tried to make it more inclusive, as I said, and try to bring it into more of a world that is more idealistic. So I thought that trying to do that was good. And I like the way it looked. There's a lot of parts that were beautiful.
Yeah, for me, the way it looked is the first thing that pops because, like, just the color palette, like Brandman said, was just it felt very fairy tale. It had that fairy tale look to it, throughout. Like whether it be with the evil queen, everything being dark and like menacing, but also very still like shiny. Like to this the aura they put around like Snow White and stuff like that. And the graphics weren't too bad at first. I was kind of like, I'm not digging the dwarfs.
Mhm.
I
But
do
then I
like them.
kind of like, Dopey was kind of cool. It just, I mean, I have issues with the dwarfs, but some of the other CGI with like the animals I thought was very animated, so it
Mhm.
also felt very fairy tale like. So some of the CGI was good. I thought the dwarfs looked okay for being CGI. But I
I
also
didn't like
have an
them.
issue.
No,
You don't like how they looked?
I
I
like
didn't
the
mind how they
dwarf.
looked. I just have an issue of they should have been people, but we'll get into
Yeah.
that later.
There's no reason
Um,
for them to not be people.
No, yeah, I agree. I agree. But yeah, and the songs were good. Songs,
Mhm.
especially the first few ones. Like "Whistle While You Work" song was like, I'm like, okay, yeah, there's a reason why this is like a classic. Like there's some really good songs. Some bad ones too, though, but some good ones.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's
Um,
probably some
yeah.
bad stuff too.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but and like Bryan, you said like I didn't mind the change of the story. Kind of instead of her being this like helpless kind of woman, and then the knight in shining armor comes and saves her. If they went that route, fine, whatever. But I like kind of how they changed it, and it's her story to tell. It's her father, it's her kingdom that she lived in. So I was
Mhm.
like, okay, I liked it. I didn't mind it as much as I thought I would have. But yeah, that's pretty much. Pretty much for my likes. I'm sure there's some other, but those are the main things. Yeah, we'll get into our negatives. Brandman, what's some issues you had?
Um, I can no longer lie to myself about Gal Gadot. Um, I used to be a pretty big apologist for her in terms of her acting skills and would say that she's only as good as the content that she's working with, or just, but she's not a very good actress. And this just kind of, I think this was the final reinforcement. Acting wise, she was bad in it. I can't even defend her with because of her looks anymore. She was just awful in this. Um Her line delivery
Mm-hmm.
um is just awful. She talks she almost talks like it hurts to talk.
I was gonna say she only has one like tone or inflection to her
Yeah.
voice. Like
Mhm.
it's just like that's it. That's all you get.
Yeah. Yeah. So I can't apologize for her anymore. And don't even get me started on the songs that she was lip syncing to, or the voice that she was lip syncing to that was clearly not hers. Um, it was it was just bad. I think the most I could give her is, she looked she looked good in the costumes,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, that was it. And as much as I didn't mind the CG, like the CG Seven Dwarfs was a little much at times. You know, they could have just gotten little people actors for that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the prince, I'm not really sure why they made him. They basically made him Flynn Rider.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, not needed. And then his sidekicks or his merry men or whatever you want to call them.
Mm-hmm.
They could have been cut completely, and you wouldn't have even noticed. You know, and plus they just felt forced and out of place. If I want to see like if I want to see people like that, I'll go to Portland.
Okay,
But those were mine.
like hipster force
Yeah,
rebellion rebels.
mhm.
Yeah. What about you, Brian? What's some negatives?
I don't even know how to even say anything about that. Uh, after that, I'll say this: I watched it with my children, and they left twice.
Mm-hmm.
It was boring. It was straight up. It was boring. So I mean, I don't think it was. It might have been written okay, but there's nothing about it that was entertaining enough to even hold a child's like attention. So isn't that kind of like the point? So I really don't care about anyone's acting or non-acting or any of that stuff, because honestly, I think that whole part was miscast. So that's their fault at the beginning. If you miscast something in effort, like it's your fault. You shouldn't have been doing it. So, but the criminal part of it is that you have Snow White and you didn't make it entertaining. And that's a problem. I have a problem with the movie because of that. I'll say that I don't understand why she's asking the mirror who's the fairest of them all. I still don't understand that.
Well, they kind of changed that too, which I thought was weird. Like fair meant something different.
Yeah, but they changed in the middle, because if she knew she had to be that, why would she then be her something she was at the beginning? So it didn't make sense, and I don't know. I have the movie should have been better. That's why I'm gonna leave it. I won't say that it should have been a better movie. But there's issues with the whole thing. There's issues over just because it just was not entertaining overall.
Yeah. That was the same issue I had. It was overall it was just boring, like you said, where it was just none of it was engaging. It felt like I was watching the 1937 one, where it was just like you kind of go through the motions of this very stereotypical, because it's so old kind of story, and even with the changes they did in it, I was still like okay, like at the end of the movie it was just like, ugh, it was kind of just boring. And then like again, like I didn't mind the looks of the dwarves. Still, at the end of the day, it's like they should have hired little people. They should have done it. I know there's the whole Peter Dinklage kind of thing, and he's kind of the reasons why, he said, and they kind of like listen to him instead of listening to the community kind of thing. But they should have brought in little people. It made sense. And then like Brandman said, like the whole Robin Hood, Merry Men, Forest Rebellion thing, cool idea. It should have been more than just like 5 dudes. like what? Either get rid of it altogether
of these 4 people. What?
Yeah. Get rid of it altogether, or make it an army. Make it a small little army, of like 50, 60 people, like 5, 6 dudes ain't gonna do nothing, and that just kind of took it out for me. I was like, oh, you could have cut that out. You already have a group of like guys in the dwarves that, the 7 dwarves that are helping her. And then like Brandman, I remember Brandman telling me, was it Saturday, off stream and stuff, that like her singing was really bad. I was like, is it gonna be really that bad? It's a Disney movie.
It was bad.
It's bad. It's bad. Like
she has,
you can tell the way they
shot an accent. She has an accent, and you got someone who doesn't have an accent to sing it. It was weird.
It's but it's just the acting, like I said, like the tone, the inflection, like most of the time is just really like this. She got the job because she looked cool in the suit, which she looked awesome.
Which she did,
like when she was the hag, I was laughing. That shit was hilarious because it sounded stupid. She looked stupid with whatever makeup they did on her. It was like,
but is that her fault?
It's not her fault. No.
And I was having trouble. Yeah, I was having trouble pegging it when she was the old hag. Was that makeup or was that CG?
I think it was CG with possibly some makeup.
I think there's some
and a
makeup
different
to
voice. Because then the voice was also like a voice changer. Like it was her voice, but it sounded different. It was really weird. Like I just felt like they should have got like just somebody different, because you
should cast someone different. 100%.
Yeah, because you could tell like here's this super attractive woman in this weird makeup CGI thing. Like you can tell because like her lips and her nose. I was like, you could like it just was. It felt off. You know, and like I legit made me laugh.
That mirror thing
But-
didn't make any sense to me. Because first it was like the prettiest and how good you look, and then
Yeah.
there was like the fairest, and they just pulled that out of nowhere. Just like,
Yeah.
it's like,
Well,
what?
she pulled it out when she stood up to when Snow White stood up to the queen, and she goes, "Oh, you have to be truthful to the people," and she goes, "Oh, that's what the fair really is," or she said something along those lines, and then the mirror copied that. It's like,
Changed it.
oh, fair is blah blah blah, and then by the end of the movie, they're like, oh, it's not just beauty, it's this and that. Like the mirror just went off on what being fair is. I was like, okay, but yeah.
So
it was
it
but
can't just be beauty. You had to explain that away.
Yeah. Although Rachel was
She's
I think
fine.
she's well. I mean, like
she was
she's a
better
movie star.
as Snow White. Yeah, exactly. But she was
Yeah,
better as
she's a
Snow
movie
White. The problem was whatever. Just
Yeah. But yeah, so that's our negatives. Let's get on with our official ratings with it. So here's Spoiler Kings. We do now, later, never. Now means you got to run to the theater, go check it out now. Later means you can wait till it's at home on streaming on Disney Plus, and never just means skip it. It's not even worth the time of day. Brandman, what you giving Snow White?
I'll give it a later. It's not anything you have to rush out to see in the theater. You can it's very much a watch it on streaming type movie. It was fine. I thought that despite a lot of the controversy leading up until, I thought Rachel Zeglar was pretty solid. Gal Gadot gave a performance that's pretty much expected of her.
Yeah.
Never. Yeah, it was fine. Just nothing really you need to rush out to see.
Mm-hmm.
Made a decent amount of trip ups, like with sometimes there was an overabundance of CG, some scenes seemed rushed. What they did with the Prince character I thought was just lame, and his sidekicks.
Prince. Yeah.
Yeah. But it was just all right. Watch them on like I said, Disney Plus one Sunday.
Yeah. Okay. Excuse me. What about you, Brian? What you giving it?
I'm almost at never, but I'm on a low end later. It should have been a Disney Channel movie, not even streaming. Because like you want to put it like at streaming. I mean, there's some stuff on streaming. I think it was more. It was they didn't give it enough respect. I am not a Snow White fan. This is not like I'm not the one you're making it for. But my girls should be the ones.
Mm-hmm.
And
Agreed.
when they stand up and they leave, I have to go find them. I'm like, maybe this might not even be a later, but I want to give it later. But I'm on the edge. I'm on the edge, If you don't understand your target audience, man, maybe this might be a problem. Because there are other people that love Snow White, right?
Snow White, right? Yeah.
So make a movie for the people that love Snow White.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't want to
do that.
Yeah, you never want to alienate your the fan base. Like I said, I'm not too invested in Snow White, but I understand that as a fan base, they're probably the first ones that you kind of want to placate or not talk down to. Mm-hmm. I understand Rachel Zeglar said something opposite to what I just said that pissed off a bunch of people.
Yeah, she backtracked it, kind of like, I really meant this,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think it was that big of a deal. I read it today. I was looking at all the stuff she said, and it's like,
gotcha.
It's not like the world kind of stuff. Like, whatever.
Yeah, people are just kind of tripping, you know. Like that girl didn't do anything to me, so.
But I mean, it did hurt the sales of this movie
a
little bit, and that's just those are facts. But it's not. She's the best part of the movie. So who am I to sit here and say anything about her? Like without her, this movie is even worse than a Disney Channel movie. Like this is was Zeon the sequel. Like that's how bad it could be without Rachel Zeglar. So
yeah,
I'm gonna give it a low end later.
Yeah, then that's why I'm probably gonna give it a never, because like you're not missing out on anything. Like there's a couple good songs, the Hi Ho, which it just sounded like how it came back from the old movie. Like I hear that at Disney World and it sounded exactly the same. The What's the Way You Work I thought was a good song. I'm like, oh, that was really good.
Yeah, I like that one.
I mean, besides that, I'm like, that's not worth seeing it. Like the Queen, she doesn't do anything. Like we didn't get anything cool from this movie where I would be like, oh, you have to see this more than the animated. Watch the animated.
Well, you be
and
like
then you
Brayman
can
and watch it and fall asleep.
fall
Right?
asleep.
Yeah.
The reason
See
why
how
you go sleep.
comfortably I'm slouching right now?
Yeah. But yeah, this for me, it's a never, man. It's a never. It's just don't waste your time with it. I mean, even like as a Disney, I guess I consider myself a Disney adult. Like I still just didn't really care for it.
I actually think the people that love Snow White probably would hate the movie.
Yeah, they would just flat out hate it. But that's our thoughts for this Snow White remake from almost 100 years later, from 1937 to 2025. We get a remake from it. But if you're in the live chat, stick around. We're gonna get to some of the box office, some of the other stuff. If you're watching on the replay, appreciate you guys coming in, checking us out on our discussion. Leave a comment. Let us know what you guys think about Snow White. Do you like it? Do you hate it? You somewhere in between? Let us know what you guys think. And then make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button.
And you know what? Just for the record, I do not find this movie like the massive train wreck everyone's review bombing it and making it out to be. It's passable. It was pretty competently put together. I'm trying to look at it as fair as possible. It was fine. It's not really anything that I'm going to rush out to rewatch again, even when it comes on streaming. Because like I said, I was never a big Snow White fan. I was more, Beauty and the Beast and Lion King and Aladdin and stuff like that. But, I didn't think it was the, total waste of celluloid everyone's making it out to be.
If it was just one of a handful of live actions, I would have been like, okay. Now it's one of like over a dozen shitty ones. It kind of goes down with all the rest. So, but I mean, it's not the worst, but it's definitely not the best. But cool. Yeah, appreciate all you guys. If you're on the replay, thank you guys so much. If you're watching live, stick around because we're gonna get into all your comments right now.